So, I want to review the concurrent episode of South Park Buddha Box, and I think this is one of the reasons why South Park is such a great series and The Simpsons is such a bad series. Because you really care about the characters, and the characters get to you emotionally, and when they are being funny, and it gets to you. And what I want to say is that in this episode, that Cartman's on his phone a lot, so he decides to put a box on his head, the Buddha box, and he learns about anxiety and he uses that to overcompensate and say, you know what, I want to be on my phone. I want to be on my phone. I don't want to be distracted. And he doesn't like being interrupted by waiters. He doesn't like being interrupted by his mom. He doesn't like being interrupted by his friends. He doesn't like being interrupted at school. So he's using a label, anxiety as a way to overcompensate for just not being mature enough to understand that you can't always like cop out you can't always cop out of life and stuff like that. So I think this was a really good episode. It does feel a little blasé because obviously they go to those themes, and that's a recurring theme in South Park, is that the towns are knuckleheads, people are knuckleheads, and they've definitely kind of kept this as a theme. Put it down, don't be on your phone. That's the same type of theme. So I think that they've kind of, and I think that's a weakness of this episode, and the only weakness is that I really think that even though they're trying to do contemporary stuff, they're rehashing old ideas, and it does feel a little like unoriginal. But as a subplot in this episode, that the PC babies are, escape their parents. So Strong Woman and PC Principal are spending the episode trying to look for their babies, and at the end, and the babies have their first protest. They go on the air and make a song, and it's just like, and I think that's one of the points they're making, is that you miss life when you're on your phone. I think people talked about Ghost in the Shell in the 90s being a metaphor for nowadays and how people are on their phone. People are a slave to their device, or people are almost, it's almost like they're hooked up to a machine, and they are in a way when you're on your phone. So I really think that this is a good episode. I also like the ending where they find their babies, and then PC Principal and Strong Woman realize, because everybody's on their phone, they can go out and be a mother and father couple. They can take their kids, they can kiss, they can hold hands, they can do whatever, because nobody's watching them. So they've gained what they want. And I really like this because, I felt heartbroken for PC Principal's character. He wants to be a responsible father, and Strong Woman, she's just has to accept the fact that they both accept the fact that it's human to make mistakes. And just because you make one mistake doesn't make you on VC, it makes you human. But they're so lost in that they don't give themselves an opportunity to love each other and take care of their children in a way and admit that they made a mistake. They just hold off their maturity. And I think that's the theme within this episode. And a theme within South Park and the PC culture is that you can put on such a front, but overall you're not living life. Overall you're being immature because you're going so you're so you're so into your ideology, you're so into your beliefs that you're trying to get your way. And sometimes when you do something that you're not proud of and go against a belief like PC culture just one time, you feel like you have to be defensive over accepting the fact that you're human and all that. So I really think that this episode really ties in on that. And I also think with PC Principal and Strong Woman, their characters are like consequences for what happens when you have a belief system and you go against that one time, and you just don't accept the fact that you're human and stuff. You just say, well, I made one mistake. I'm willing to destroy a family. I'm willing to destroy a relationship. I'm willing to destroy happiness because I'm just too afraid to admit that I was wrong and stuff. And I really think that that's another theme they really touch up in South Park, is that we all have to realize that, life happens around us. So when we are PC and when we have strong beliefs like that, we have to understand that we are human. We make mistakes. And we also have to realize that, we don't live in a box. because when we're on, sometimes we want to be on our phone to escape a situation. We want to ignore people. We want to put labels on ourselves so we can get what we want, like anxiety and all that. But we live in a world and things happen. So you can't just ignore the real world, because you can't ignore the real world and just be on your phone. And sometimes it's just something immature. Like if you're like Hartman, where you want to ignore walking across the street, you want to ignore your parents, you want to ignore school, you want to ignore being a team player and stuff. So it really is a cry. And I think this episode is just reinforcing how we've can be obsessed by technology, but I think the root of it is our own human selfishness. And again, some people are like Hartman, where they are extremes and they are extremely selfish and it's realistic. And then there are people who are not as like that. And I always would say, and I want to give everybody a little test, write down how long are you on your phone each day and stuff. So like keep a log of that. So you can like look back and say, have I been on my phone 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours, and then just like say afterwards what you want to do with that time and stuff. All right, so I really like this episode. And the Man Bear Pig episodes, I may review it, I may not review it. It's kind of dated. My television wasn't working, and like last week I was really tired, and the past couple of weeks of my job, it's just been really stressful and busy, so I really haven't given myself a time to watch those 2 episodes and review it. So I may skip over them, but I'll think about it. I may just do it tonight and stuff. But overall, I really like this episode, Buddha Box. And I think that, PC Principal, I felt sorry for him for a long time, because he doesn't he can't be in the life of the kids that he loves. And also, Strong Woman, I felt sorry for her because she loves PC Principal, but their beliefs stop them from that. So and the PC Babies are really funny and stuff. So I really was trying to say earlier that, when I watch The Simpsons, they're out of touch and they don't do anything to care for the characters. And I really think The Simpsons, their episodes are written by really, really smart people who kind of make fun of the fact that maybe the audience isn't as smart as them. But I really think with South Park, they do stuff that kind of resonates, and they do care about character development. And I really think that because I care about the characters within South Park, I keep watching the show, and I feel like that they are not out of touch. So that's all I got to say about this episode of South Park.